Welcome to Something Crunchy. Tyler is homies with Blake. Blake is the older bro of Blair. Blair is married to Tyler, and is a slutty slut.
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
What the hell is crunchy?
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
Alright, back in the studio with T Diggity and No Bliggity. Let's put them up!
That was a good one. I immediately wanted to sing as soon as he said
No Bliggity.
How am I feeling?
How you feeling?
I'm ready to go ATM on this sode.
We're right in the meat of Crunchtober. It is episode 13.
Ooh, episode 13.
I am excited.
How did that fall perfectly over like
In
I know.
Crunchtober?
I know. And I never tie any themes to an episode number, but I did tonight.
You have to.
Yeah, just because it worked out that well.
It would be too on the nose not to.
I thought we would start out with the 13 most extreme, crazy haunted houses in the United States.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
I got anxiety just thinking about it.
I know, I am too.
Did you hear about some crazy haunted houses?
Yes.
I love them, and I hate them at the same time.
This could be fun. I've been to some of the craziest haunted houses, I feel. Like in Texas, everything is much, much bigger.
Oh yeah.
Terrifying.
Like, and then in Arizona,
They certainly don't mess around.
they have like one of the largest outdoor ones that has a like
Been
the
to
corn
it?
maze. Yeah,
Been to it,
Been
yep.
to it. Feel the screams. Am I right?
Field of Screams.
Feel the screams.
Ooh, that's cool.
I got a good story about that.
Tell me.
You want to know?
Yeah.
Scariest part of Field of Screams is the van ride to get there from the ticket booth to where the haunted field starts.
There's a van ride?
You have to like load up in lines, right? It's just like a Six Flags Magic Mountain kind
So
of
you
a...
stand in line
yeah.
and then you get in a van?
You get in a van, in one of those 16-passenger vans.
Oh.
It's about...
No, I don't like that at all.
I could so see you freaking out too on your way there.
And listen to what they do.
I'll have admission for two and a clean pair of shorts.
They strap you in, you start going, everybody's like, all right, it's going to be a standard, just a ride to wherever we're going, we're going to get out. The experience starts right there. They shut the lights off, the headlights. It's pitch black. The place doesn't open until 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my god.
You're going 50 miles an hour, no headlights, down a dirt road, jumping in this van, just catching air on every other bump. Everybody's
flying around
So
the
you
desert.
start on like an
Yeah.
extreme van ride.
Yeah, before you even get to the haunted field. That was the scariest part. Once you get there, then it's, pretty standard haunted field, haunted mansion kind of stuff.
Do you want to hear about the ones that aren't standard?
Yes.
I'm talking about the ones you need waivers for.
Okay.
I narrowed a list
No.
down from like 50 all the way to 13. Let's start out with, let's see if I can do this right. In Manhattan, you must fight to survive. At Blackout, there's one way in, no way out. Shout out to Pablo.
Pablo.
Considered one of the scariest haunted houses in the world, Blackout requires both a waiver and a safety word. The actors will touch you and interact with you as they please, and no, you can't fight back.
Oh, they can touch you?
my
That's like a
God.
part of the thing. Oh.
You must.
So that's usually my safety
You can't
net.
even
It's
push
like
them off
knowing-
you if they're
Nope.
if they're too close, or
Nope.
if they're like,
Oh,
no.
You must be over 18 to participate, and you must walk through the attraction alone.
Oh, absolutely not. That's like literally, I feel like a nightmare I've had. And then like somebody killed me in a haunted house and got away with it because I was like,
Blair,
seriously.
we're just getting started.
Oh, Blake. I don't
Considered
like
by
that at
many
all.
the first extreme haunt, Blackout launched in New York in 2006, has expanded to Los Angeles and San Francisco, and offers horror experiences online or via text, which sounds like the Fear Inc. movie, if you ever saw
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah, I saw that.
That was cool. Participants have been waterboarded, asked to suck on bloody tampons, rubbed against by pervy weirdos, forced to walk barefoot over used condoms and suffocated with plastic. These tortures are simulated. You're not sucking on real blood unless you bring your own tampon. Many visitors report an extremely unpleasant experience, which obviously is the point. The documentary, The Blackout Experiments, details the haunt and those who've gone through it. Would you check out Blackout in Manhattan?
Not for me.
That's a hard pass.
Really?
You're surprised?
Right off on the list. Oh, I'm into it.
You do it?
Oh, I'm into it. I'd be laughing the whole way
Everything's simulated.
I can't say that for everything on this list.
Ooh.
I don't love people being like able to like grab me and I don't know like what's happening or something, and I like usually that's what's fun about haunted houses, like at least you can't like, even though they usually like, you always make it worse at haunted houses because you like yell my name immediately. So the whole time I have like
knowing they
say, like,
can't touch you, I make sure that I take advantage of being able to touch you. So like I'll wait for, I'll like know someone's popping out.
And they feed
and
on what
like,
you give. Oh yeah, you're bringing make it bad, make it terrifying. Her name's Blair. She hates clowns.
Get 17 of them at the end.
Her name's Blair. She hates clowns. That's perfect. Let's continue. Let's talk about Scare House in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh in the Pittsburgh.
Sounds scary.
Scare House is one of America's top haunted attractions, and guests can choose one of two experiences: the basement or stalked by a killer. The latter,
tough choice.
The latter is a horror-themed escape room for ages 12 and over. That's the stalked by a killer. While the basement features a series of intense R-rated horrors that will challenge your limits. Scare House warns you will be touched, bound, blindfolded, tormented, challenged, and scared out of your mind. There are also electronic shocks,
Tyler's the only
profanity,
one allowed to do these things to me.
Total darkness, and sexual content, which seems to be a running theme here. Participants must be at least 18 and have to sign a waiver. You may choose to enter in pairs or by yourself.
So they're bound and their sexual content. Like what?
Jeez and
This is 50 Shades of Grey. Like
how much you got to pay
Halloween
to get into
edition
this thing?
I got prices on a couple of them.
People probably
they're
paid,
typically pretty,
like, yeah.
especially some of these, but also some of them are invite only, waiting list. Like it's crazy.
Is it all torture, or can I get like a little happy ending?
No, it's pretty torture. It's a haunted house, bro. Not a brothel.
Yeah, it's $50, not $500.
The basement at Scare House is an intense, immersive, interactive experience in nearly a 100-year-old historic and reportedly haunted building. It's not possible to make it from start to end without multiple actors jumping out at you unexpectedly, and visitors are often picked up, carried off, or tied up. The physical contact is constant and includes nightmarish scenarios such as simulated drowning, being locked in tight spaces, and the aforementioned real electric shocks.
All that sounded pretty standard except for the real electric shocks. Like that sounds sketchy.
It couldn't be like.
And where do you get carried off to?
I mean, it starts from the beginning. Like the overwhelming assault begins from the outset with the scent of burning sage and a golem-like gatekeeper laying his hands upon you and carrying you inside the shadowy darkness of the first room you will enter, where he will leave you to face the evil that awaits. It's just all getting worse from here. Well, Blackout was pretty dope, but
this does not sound like something I'd be able to handle.
Let's keep going. Asylum 49, Tooele, Utah. At Asylum 49, guests can be grabbed, separated from their group, detained, even strapped down to a metal bed. If you're willing to lay down the $100, you can participate in Extreme Night. During these, you will be covered in blood, goo, and other things. Featured on Ghost Adventures, there's no better place to hold a haunted house than in a place that's actually haunted.
Ooh, that does kind of sound
Blair,
fun.
would you go to Asylum 49?
I do think like the haunted house kind of situation. Like I've always been interested in paranormal.
Yeah, that sounds like that's more up
Yeah,
our
okay.
alley.
Yeah.
Okay. This one sounds pretty
Still
dope.
terrifying, and like I would just like totally be freaking out, but like it would be
Less of
so
the
intriguing and
People
just,
jumping out at you and grabbing you and
I don't
trying
like
to
people
freak
like
you out
they're
that way,
grabbing
and
me like that. Yeah.
more of like an eerie feeling.
The haunted house would be more like
So you're
an
not
experience.
into like the waiver signing, grabby is okay. them yelling stuff at you.
I don't need that sort of like torture crazy.
Yeah, I like
You
to
get enough of
see.
that
I
at
like
home.
to see it from afar. Like, yeah, I'll
You
like
get
watch
enough of that
someone
at home.
else. That's like Saturday night. Like,
I'm an observer by nature.
Let's talk about the 13th Gate in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh, never been there. Tell me about it.
The 13th Gate, otherwise called the Ultimate Haunted House, is home to 13 different realms where your nightmares and worst fears are brought to life. Known for its extreme ultra-realism, this attraction is one of the most detailed haunted houses in existence. From crawling through a crematory oven to walking through long, dark underground tunnels, the 13th Gate has 40,000 square feet of hell to endure.
40,000 square feet.
An indoor and outdoor experience, the 13th Gate has been haunting the Louisiana area for over 16 years, using a mix of phobias, including a real snake-infested Louisiana swamp,
Oh.
cramped tunnels you have to crawl through, and a horde of zombies.
Oh, you gotta crawl?
You gotta crawl. Crap.
Crawl.
Crotch?
Crap.
Tyler,
Real snakes?
I believe it was real snakes. I mean, it's Louisiana. Like, there's gonna be
They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
snakes.
They're
I don't know no snakes.
everywhere.
Everywhere. Like,
I
Come
owned
on.
a snake and it bit me, and I'm
You owned
done.
a snake?
Yeah. I bought a little footer. He was cute and stuff, and he
shut
was
your face.
eating little pinky mice. And within like 3 months, he was like 4.5 feet
Yeah.
eating rats.
That escalated quickly.
And he bit me real hard one time. So like after
That's enough
that,
of
I'm cool with snakes. So I'm probably not going to that one.
Let's talk about the Dent Schoolhouse in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Ooh, schoolhouse.
Big ups to the Dent Schoolhouse. The Dent Schoolhouse was reportedly a real public school that opened in 1894. Legend has it, Dent was the site of a mass murder in the 1950s when a janitor was suspected of killing missing students. Aside from this terrifying haunted house, guests can also experience real-life paranormal activity by taking the ghost tour of the schoolhouse.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can't make it to Cincinnati this October, don't worry. Dent also holds a special Christmas-themed haunted house every year.
That sounds like
Cincinnati. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Haunted
cool.
schoolhouse.
That's pretty sweet. Haunted.
Any
that
sort
would
of
be
like
creepy.
haunted, like mental asylum or like
Oh, I've been to-
schoolhouse
yeah.
would be like.
I've been to
Really
both
cool.
an abandoned orphanage and an abandoned asylum, and those were the creepiest places I've ever been
Yeah,
to in my
bet.
entire
Yeah,
life.
for sure.
sounds
Like
horrifying.
You know, there's like a lot of things
and
happening.
those
in
weren't
there.
like paid to haunted houses. Those were like we found them, like being
Really?
teenagers in the Dallas area.
That would be the way that like Blake finds his.
Yeah, that
We
was
didn't
Nobody
pay
was
for the- yeah.
charging to get in there. We just broke right in.
It was that's a conversation for another day. Terror Behind the Walls, Philadelphia, PA. Terror Behind the Walls is a massive haunted house attraction set inside a real prison.
Ooh, prison would be a good one.
Yeah.
Too.
Yes. With 6 attractions included and 1 admission price, it's hard to pass up this creepy haunt. Guests can opt in for the ultimate spooky experience, during which you'll be grabbed, held back, sent down secret passageways, even temporarily removed from your group.
Oh,
may-
see, now I don't like.
You
any
may
of that.
also be thrown into a haunted prison cell or forced onto an operating table. Can you imagine Blair being separated from the group, thrown onto an operating table?
There goes your liver.
You know I would pay, like, I'd throw a little 50 at a guy to make sure that, like,
Scare the living
Make sure,
shit.
Yes.
make sure it's this one.
yes.
We want to see her pee.
This is
She's
why
in
I
the
don't
black
go.
jacket, the jeans, the inappropriate shoes for a haunted house. Eastern State Penitentiary is the kind of place that's creepy as hell. The crumbling walls of the 6-chamber prison give the vibe of a nameless dread,
Another prison.
which is part of its reason it made the list of the craziest prisons and jails in the world. At the haunted house, high production value combined with a team of over 200 invested actors, impressive animatronics,
Wow.
and cells outfitted with bloody prison guards and inmates makes keeping your cool an impossibility. Terror Behind the Walls.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I like that experience.
Prison.
Motown, Philly.
Went to Alcatraz and like I could feel
Yeah,
like
in
the
Alcatraz.
darkness that's
Yes,
happening
in a
inside
prison,
of those
like-
walls. Like that's a creepy place. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
that
can
place
imagine.
is really bad.
1894 schoolhouse, like old school real prison. Like those are all excellent places to have a haunted house.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone was thinking.
Just a,
That's how you do it.
Here's a little.
nobody's
something.
doing hospitals. Like
No.
like an abandoned hospital would be a real crazy place.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Lots
You
of that.
mental?
Sure.
This one's cool. Miasma, Chi-Town, Illinois. Miasma describes itself as a physical and psychological terror experience in which you step into someone else's shoes and experience a personal story of guilt and maybe redemption. It's a one-night, invitation-only show, and guests are only informed of its location just 24 hours prior to the event. Guests are warned that the subject matter may be violent and sexual, and that you may be bound, forced to crawl, and placed in pitch darkness. You must enter alone, cannot wear glasses, and should expect to experience exposure to liquids and gels and demanding physical and psychological moments.
Oh, absolutely not.
I'm surprised to just like see you nix
I
it
don't know
so
what
quickly.
liquid or gels are gonna be. Just like
They're
you gotta
lubing
take
us
your
up?
glasses
No,
off.
thank you.
Oh, all right. Well,
They
then
take you. Yeah, there's a lot happening there.
Yeah, it sounds.
A little sketch.
it sounds a little eyes wide shut, but I don't know. I can still get into it. I gotta find something like that.
Depends on who's doing it.
Right. All right. Let's go back to Louisiana. Let's hit up NOLA, House of Shock, New Orleans. Founded by, among others, Pantera frontman Phil Anselmo, the House of Shock is one of the most unique haunted houses in America. All of the rumors about rock music being a vehicle for satanic messages, the House of Shock sets
Yeah.
out to
This is
prove them
interesting.
right.
Yeah.
Live heavy metal bands perform on the weekends, adding to the experience while visitors endure
Yes.
scares like the Church of Satan, and an holy ritual that will have you shitting yourself. Though co-founder
sounds fun.
Phil Anselmo is no longer involved in NOLA's satanic lair, heavy metal vibes still reverberate from wall to wall. It features two new scares: the Carney Freak Show, Bordello of Freaks, and Clown Assault, Laugh in the Dark. Oh, Blair, you like that?
Yeah, that definitely sounds my speed.
As for the original house, it too has gone through a bit of a makeover, but continues to play off of the city's historical dark magic, and as always, expect the trademark shock twist.
What's the twist?
Oh, but that sounds
You got to
pretty
go to find
sweet.
out. Yeah,
That
it
could be
sounds amazing.
sweet.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I like the heavy metal, like live. That would
Yes.
be crazy. Like that would be awesome.
Right up our alley,
Yeah,
too. I mean,
yeah.
for
I
sure.
could get into that.
Yeah.
What about the Erebus Haunted Attraction in Pontiac, Michigan? Previously the Guinness World Record holder for longest walk-through haunted house, this cult classic plays
Wow.
host to 4 stories of haunted hurdles, which include a man-made swamp and mutant gorilla. With state-of-the-art effects and disturbing costumes
Mutant
ripped
gorilla.
right out of a Rob Zombie flick, the house feels as
What?
if you've entered the final gateway to hell. Have someone else go first, as Satan's minions will pluck victims from the crowd and have them buried alive. For real.
Pass.
Could you do it?
I could do it.
Could you be buried alive?
Yeah.
They were like, Tyler, you're chosen.
Go
Yeah.
Michigan for having the previous Guinness Book of World Records longest haunted house. Congratulations to Cutting Edge in Fort Worth, Texas. Cutting Edge Haunted House was built in a 100-year-old abandoned meat packing plant in a section of Fort Worth that has once been
Yes.
referred to as the Hell's Half Acre. The meatpacking equipment from the Old West is still in use, but now it is a 2-story human processing area. Realistic-looking human mannequins are hoisted up to the second level and brought through the entire meatpacking process until the belt system brings the butchered corpses back up to the first level. It also features live sets, animations, and dozens of live actors inside and outside the building. It takes visitors an average of 45 to 55 minutes to explore the entire haunted house. Cutting Edge Haunted House has been recognized by Guinness Book of World Records as the longest indoor haunted house in the world.
Wow.
Cutting Edge, Fort Worth, Texas.
There you go. Cutting edge.
Good for you guys.
During that long-ass journey, you'll encounter room after room of horrible scenarios, bringing your worst fears to life, including claustrophobia, which is that's my
Everybody.
That's my
I don't know anybody who likes a tight space, really.
You know, I'm
Well-
not in the heights. I could do it if I know I'm
Well.
like chilling, but no, claustrophobia,
Yeah,
can't do it.
terrible.
Just can't do it. This one's cool. How would you feel about a haunted house in Vegas? Would you be excited to hear about a
Yeah.
Vegas
Oh, that
one?
could be fun. That could be really interesting.
We love Vegas.
Yeah.
The Freakling Brothers Horror Show, Las Vegas, Nevada. The Freakling Brothers Horror Show is home to one of the most well-known and extremely realistic haunted houses in the world. Dubbed the Gates of Hell, this horrifying ordeal exposes you to the hellish scenes that are psychological, emotional, and sensory-driven. They also have two other haunts known as Coven of 13 and Castle Vampire. The victim experience, which is no longer in operation, was the extreme version of the Freakling Brothers' Gates of Hell, and the show was one of the most traumatic haunted houses most would ever experience. As the name suggests, you are the victim of several sadistic tormentors who want nothing more than to make you say your safe word, purgatory. However, guests who have made it out claim to have felt a sense of accomplishment, and the creators of the haunt assure you that they are rooting for you to make it through the simulated danger. Some guests have reported being bound, gagged, hit, dunked in ice water, and stunned, like with a stun gun.
Oh, man.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't last a second in there.
Could you do it, Pete?
It just sounds like there's too many ways for them to mess up and really hurt you. So
Yeah, if
I
I'm getting
couldn't
hit
do
and
that.
slapped and round, like, how
And-
do I know?
Partially
Buy me a
drowned.
drink
and
first.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
You gotta earn that, right?
not just anyone gets to do these things. Like,
Some dude off the street
he's
just
just
to
gonna
and
come in here and
smack
gag
me
me,
around.
slap me around. Who do you think you are?
Let's talk about the Heretic House, Los Angeles, California. Heretic House is a mysterious LA haunt that takes place year-round in various locations. Explore themes such as claustrophobia, sleep paralysis, or being alone in a cabinet of woods. Guests are bound, grabbed, roughly moved about, covered in fake blood, likely clawed, suffocated, nailed into coffins, and may have their clothes shredded, among other horrors.
Covered in blood.
I mean,
Yeah,
could you do it?
not for free. I'm not paying to do it. That's for sure. I mean, I could do it, but you better be giving me something for that kind of experience.
I'm sick of talking about those first 12. You know I saved the best for last, and there's only
It gets
one.
worse.
There's only one worth talking about, and anyone who knows anything about extreme haunts in this country knows that McCamey Manor is the real deal. Whew. Russ McCamey
I'm nervous.
runs what
Scared.
is unequivocally considered the most extreme haunt in the United States. Previously located in San Diego, there are now two locations, Summertown, Tennessee, near Nashville, and Huntsville, Alabama. Supposedly, thousands are on the wait list.
Wow.
What makes it so
Gee,
extreme?
Layla.
The haunt can last up to 10 hours,
Oh my gosh.
and guests go in solo or two at a time. You may be bound, slapped, manhandled, covered in blood, made to vomit, forced to eat cockroaches, and undergo simulated drowning. Despite all of the freaky fetishes and outlandish haunted theatrics, the house is absolutely free, believe it or not.
Better
All that
be.
McCamey asks of its visitors is that they make a donation to their Greyhound Rescue Organization or a donation of dog food for the local animal
dog
shelter.
friendly.
Well, that's nice.
That's like the best part.
But
No, here's the
It's
best
a
part.
10-hour
It can be
experience.
up to 10 hours. That's the extreme. That's the extreme version. And let's talk about
doing
some.
ayahuasca back there. Like,
Oh
Jesus.
no, they will ensure that you haven't, and I'm so glad you brought that up because here are a few requirements that you must pass to even be able to enter.
There's
yeah,
requirements.
there's so many liabilities that go
Yeah,
on
for
with that.
sure.
So.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear this. You must be 21 and older only, or 18 to 20 with parental approval. Doctor's letter stating you are physically and mentally cleared to participate. A background check provided by McCamey Manor. You have to be screened via Skype with Russ himself. Proof of medical insurance. Sign a detailed 40-page waiver. You must pass a portable drug test prior to the show that will be administered on site.
Wow.
That's intense.
That's if you're picked out of the thousands on the waiting list to get through there.
That is crazy.
Jeez. Yeah, because of all that's probably enough signals for me to pass.
Really? You don't want to hear a little more about it?
I definitely need to hear more about
I need to hear all about it. I'm just never going.
Oh, I'm into
it.
it.
I want you to go, and I want to hear just like all about your experience.
Wear a GoPro.
The theme constantly changes, so each tour is different for every person. According to Russ, there are different locations which have been streamlined for cult fans who are determined to make it through. I consider the people who take part in the haunts as my friends because I research and spend time with them before they go on the haunt. Not only is it the scariest haunted house, but it's also the most disturbing, and they offer an extreme version. In over 20 years, nobody has ever completed the extreme version. Up to $20,000 can be yours if you survive and complete the full 10-hour experience.
Now you got my attention.
Didn't they just make a movie that was kind of like that? Where it was like you're basically get tortured, but if you like get through, then it's like
you get paid.
You get paid, and you have like the feeling of going through the experience and being changed by it, and the whole.
Well, that's
deal.
Saw, isn't it?
I mean, there's a lot of you could tie that to a lot of
man, but that's crazy.
Cinematic adventures. That's some good stuff, though,
Yeah.
right?
That's amazing.
A little worn out.
Yeah, I bet.
Extreme haunt.
I'm scared.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that last place. I don't know if I could.
The waivers, like we need to hear from people that have done it. Like,
Yeah,
tell me
I
about
could get into
it.
that.
Nobody's finished it.
Well, there's
I
people
mean,
that have done it, or at least have tried.
Is it just real torture? How long? I guess
yeah.
it's just psychological terror, so you don't know how long it's gonna be until the next phase of torture is coming. Maybe they. I mean, I'm surprised a military person hasn't done this yet because a lot of their training has to do with like in SEER school. You have to sit in a box for 2 days with just a straw in your mouth, breathing out of that thing.
I wonder how many requirements I could make it through. Like, I'm not thinking about the haunted house. I'm thinking like
am I gonna pass?
Like, I don't. Doctor's clearance, mental and physical. Like this social
really
studies,
tough.
history. This is going to be really tough. Like, ooh,
Yeah,
I
that
don't
would certainly
know.
be interesting. If I passed, I'm like, wow, really? I passed all this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be mentally stable after this, but that's cool.
That's a good list.
Glad I
Going
was
in, I'm
beforehand.
good.
Yeah, good to know I was.
Coming out, you guys owe me a lot more than 20
Need
grand.
some therapy, but yeah.
Extreme haunts. Right
good
in the
stuff.
meat of
That's
crunched over.
awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
Very nice.
Let's take a break.
Enjoying something crunchy? Follow us on social media and tweet us your comments and questions at crunch_cast. We encourage you to participate and thank you for listening.
And we're back. All right. I say we switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
That was extremely haunted, very crunched over.
Yes.
I thought it was very fitting.
I'm coming down from the anxiety right now, but
Not as terrified, but
the come down is not as bad as the go up.
During break, I already put you on the waiting list for McCamey Manor. Hope you're stoked.
No, I'm not going, man. Even if they pull my number.
Pack your bags, brother.
No.
Let's switch it up a little bit. With help from the Allowed Travel team, I want to talk about ways to spot an American abroad.
Oh, no.
okay.
Definitely.
This is good to know.
Oh, yeah. This is good to know. Straight white teeth, not knowing the metric system, and not caring about soccer, but don't you dare call it fucking soccer, are all indicators that you're red, white, and blue. But here are the sure signs that your states are hanging out and may need to be tucked back in.
Hey, Blake, your states are hanging out.
Right? This is good, and I want us.
I can tell we're already going to be like all over this list.
I want
It'd
us.
be so obvious.
I do want us to address what we're guilty of.
Guilty
here.
as charged.
And Tyler, you and I are just. I mean, most Americans are
90%.
Between all of us, we have this whole list covered.
You could just take one look at me and know I'm American.
You and I are guilty of this first one right now. Grown men wearing shorts.
Part of the UOD, the uniform of the day.
We live in the desert. Even when it isn't super hot outside, Americans love to wear shorts. In India, for example, though, Shorts are only for children. You won't get scolded, but they'll think a grown man wearing shorts is very odd. It's just not a common thing to see in many other countries.
Interesting.
I mean,
I would have not even thought.
if I was
That
traveling,
makes sense.
if you were traveling abroad, would you pack a bunch of shorts?
If it's like a hot desert climate, yeah, I'm wearing shorts.
If I was going to India, and
You know, it's probably a bit warm.
I would bring shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, but
If people were looking at me, I'd still probably rock the shorts.
I mean,
too.
I'm 6'5" and you're 6'7", so
They're
I
gonna
don't
be
think
staring at
people are
you.
going to be staring at us no matter what.
People
So I don't
staring
think the shorts are
everywhere
going to be
we
a big
go.
deal at that point.
Sticking out like sore thumbs over here.
I think we could all be guilty of this one. Requesting drinks with ice. You might find chilled wine or mineral water in other places, but if you're trying to find tap water or soda with ice in it, you're immediately marked as American. Mm-hmm. Our bizarre obsession with watering down our beverages is a dead giveaway, not to
Yeah.
mention more likely to expose you to local waters that haven't been filtered as much as the drinking water.
I totally get that.
Same thing with beers too. In Germany, Europe, they like to serve room temperature beer.
Warm
I
beer.
couldn't do that, and I wouldn't think about it like twice. If someone brought a drink or
Tall
water with
glass
no
and
ice
just
in
like-
it, I'd be like,
Ooh.
"Can I?
Just get a little bit of ice.
We're gonna need some more bread, and I'm definitely gonna need some ice."
It's just a pitcher of ice.
Just a little bit more.
Bring a bucket.
Is this
Interesting.
Water, is this water triple filtered?
I mean, it probably would be like a smarter way just to chill your beverages instead of watering down everything. But
Yeah.
we use ice, so
Americans are ice people.
Americans are.
We
Right.
like to chew on ice. We like to crunch on it.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
people that will go to specific restaurants or
Because they're ice.
convenience stores because of their ice. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's very true.
Sonic ice. Always had great ice.
Wearing baseball caps. Americans are into the caps.
Oh, yeah, y'all would definitely.
And we take them with us everywhere, including overseas, where they immediately mark us as a blue-blooded American.
Part of my fashion. It's
I
my
would-
own personal style.
I would be rocking a hat for sure.
It's,
I mean-
it's like particular like the ball cap because like I feel like
Yeah.
Europeans wear hats. It's just
Because
not
they would wear like a
More of a like a
Not like a
fedora,
sports- right.
Or a like
a beret or like
the beret style.
you know.
But-
Kangol hat.
baseball doesn't get more American, so or
I mean,
doesn't
not
get more
necessarily
Americans than
baseball.
So,
Like I do have.
but the baseball
baseball
cap
hats.
has been coined for all sports, all kinds of fashion. There is a baseball cap.
I like wearing Cowboys hats because people get pissed off at Cowboys fans. You either like make friends. People are like, bro, dude,
Cowboys,
or yeah, Cowboys.
Or they just, like, hate you.
or it's just like, ugh.
Getting some sort of reaction.
I
yeah.
love it. Wearing white socks. This is another huge giveaway.
Nice.
In the U.S., we may fuck with people for wearing socks with sandals. But white socks are
Yeah.
apparently super American, whether you're wearing them with sandals or not. People across Europe and the UK tend to wear darker socks only. I'd say this depends on your shoe. If I'm wearing a tennis shoe, and I often do, that's white sock
Yeah.
friendly. If I
You're
wore
not gonna
anything,
wear white with like a business shoe.
yeah, anything more formal than a tennis shoe, you have to
One
wear.
thing I'm not guilty of because you can't see my socks. Got those
no
no-shows.
That's what I rock too, but they're still white socks. I only wear no shows as well, but they're still white socks.
You know what? They're out of style now. The new style is long white socks again.
or no socks at all,
Or no socks at all. Yeah.
which I just can't do.
But that's what it looks like, though. Like what we've been rocking for the last
Yeah.
15, 20 years is
Yeah,
the
the
no-show
no-shows.
socks. So it looks
It's so
like you're not
true.
wearing socks.
That's
and if
true.
you're really not wearing socks, you're just dirty.
Yeah,
Put
I'd
some
be
socks on
dirty.
them feet.
I'd be sliding around in my shoes. Talking to strangers, granted not all Americans do this, but for the ones who do, it's an immediate signal that you are from the US of A. It's not the accent that comes out when you open your mouth, it's the fact that you opened your mouth in the first place. American friendliness is a little different than what you see elsewhere in the world.
Oh, we would be awful then.
Yeah, for sure. I would be completely guilty of this.
Oh, man.
Hi, how are you? Blake from Texas. How you doing today?
Our whole family mom would be just like obnoxiously
This
just
is
like
perfectly-
talking to
yeah.
everybody, just so loud.
This one's directly tied with that. Overly sharing your feelings.
Oh.
It's not just that we're talking to the strangers, but Americans are super weirdly and intimately open with strangers. If you unload on a total stranger, they're going to peg you for a yank right away.
I feel like these people spend a lot of time in bars just because, the American folk
Yeah.
in the bar system, hanging out in the bars, talk a lot to people that they don't know. So maybe that's where they're getting their information
People
from.
are on vacation. They want to mingle. They want like the full hostel experience.
That's true.
They're
I
looking
think
for something
Americans
memorable.
are just like more
But where do you mean?
emotional and like vocal about it overall than
Yes,
Europeans
we are.
anyway.
We are.
And we would like to
Notorious.
tell everybody that we're on vacation and this is
Yeah.
a new thing for us and tell us
And
what
they're
you
like,
do
I
around
don't
here.
care. Why are you telling me this?
Americans are guilty of always applauding too. Clapping for a performance is important. And if you take in any kind of show anywhere, it is appreciated. But Americans have a reputation for clapping everywhere at everything. Like at a movie theater for performers who obviously can't hear you, or for planes making a smooth landing. That shit isn't necessary anywhere, here included. But Americans like to clap.
That's really funny, just because we're definitely whooping up people, so
Yeah.
we're clappers.
I hate that
Yeah.
though.
I was a
I'm-
cheerleader too, so I'm certainly a clapper.
I'm not a clapper at the end of movies. I'm not a clapper on the plane. Like,
I've done it. I'm not going to say I'm not a clapper
Yeah.
because
I'm
I
not gonna
have
say
done it.
I've
I've
never
but
done
done
both
it.
of those things
I've
for sure.
definitely
But that's
done
also because everybody else was doing this. Everybody was clapping at the end of the movie, and everybody was clapping.
And also
so
we
because
landed
it was a
plane.
peer pressured clap.
I would have done it anyway because I'm down for a good clap. I'm always here for it.
Blair's like,
name
I
a-
love to
name a
share a
Blair
good
sex
moment with
tape.
everybody.
I'd just like to tell you right now, your states are hanging out.
Yeah. Name your sex tape.
Yeah, and you got
I'm always down for the clap.
you got at least one state hanging out. Probably a couple that you need to tuck back in.
It's everywhere.
Trying someone else's accent. Of course, when you're trying not to sound
Guilty.
American, that's when you sound most American.
Oh,
We're
I wouldn't even try this because it'd be terrible.
Me too.
Do I have a bit of an accent?
I have no Texas accent, but anytime I'm ever trying to do an accent from anywhere, that's when I sound most Texas.
Oh, yeah, it's like-
That's what
yeah.
it's like I only sound Texas.
Your steers hanging out.
Your twang got
Yeah,
worse trying
exactly.
to sound like someone
Try
else.
and pull off any accent, and all of a sudden it's perfect Matthew McConaughey. We're notorious for being convinced that we can talk and sound just like the people we're around, and that's when we break out an Australian accent in London or a Northern accent in Wales. If you
so
try this in
bad.
the UK, you should know
Perfect.
an American, even living there for years, still likely isn't going to pull that
Oh,
off.
yeah, they probably hate that so much. Like, you sound nothing like us.
Tyler, if you were traveling, across any pond with us, would you fear that we may fall into this category of loudness?
Yeah. I don't ever have to worry about losing you to anybody from your family.
Oh, no, you can
extended
hear what
Are we
we
family.
guilty of being loud? I think whether intentional or
We're your loud
non-intentional,
Southern family, that's for
we're
sure.
allowed.
Yeah, you definitely make your presence known
Guilty.
with the loudness.
Whether it's a question of day-to-day conversational volume or shouting across a room to get someone's attention, which I do to Blair on purpose. Anytime she walks into a restaurant, you can attest to that.
Across the entire
Oh,
restaurant.
she'll see us.
screaming my
I know
name.
she sees
Oh,
us.
yeah.
But I do it just so everyone will look at her as soon as she walks in. I try to make it as awkward as possible. The best place to do it is in the shopping mall. You get the best reverb in there. Typically, you'll get at least 2 floors
So
of
many
people to look down and find the
immediately
Blair.
staring.
It's just it's a fun game to play.
These aren't
not
jokes.
fun.
These are not jokes, people.
No, this
I'm
is
telling you, this is real
real
life.
life.
This happens.
Like more than one shopping mall. Blair
I had to
is-
get used to
Oh,
that.
this is like every time if I meet, yeah. I have to get used to.
Not something that you
Tyler,
can just
there's a few
like.
things we're gonna have to prepare for here.
you
We're,
didn't-
we're meeting Blake here.
Tyler, sit
at
down.
the restaurant. So
You're gonna have to get used to that.
yeah, the ICR party. We're just gonna go ahead and walk through. Thank you.
Americans haven't quite nailed the inside voice thing just yet.
Nope.
If the accent you speak doesn't give you away, your volume definitely will. Mm-hmm. This is my favorite
Precisely.
one. This is my favorite one on the list. You could tell how people would be easily guilty of it. I could tell how we would probably be guilty about it. When Americans meet other Americans abroad. When Americans meet other Americans, it's like we found our long-lost relatives,
Besties for
even
the
though they
rest.
are complete strangers.
You're from Colorado? I've been there before. Oh my god. We're like best friends.
Do you know Jim and Susie from Denver?
They've been there once.
Oh, we get loud. We'll talk about the states we're from. In the process, letting everyone else around us know we are so painfully American.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing
I can
this
totally
more and
see
more
us
as you're saying.
You latch on to the
Completely
comfort
guilty.
and like, yeah, I remember being
The
overseas.
commonalities that you have with people and connecting. Yeah.
Any slang like saying bro or sup, the dead giveaway that you're from the old US of A. Australians and a lot of others say mate. It's like Americans say bruh.
Dude, bro,
You know?
man.
So if you want to keep a low profile, you gotta update the slang and know
I mean, the
dude man
y'all,
bro.
the y'all would be pretty.
Yeah, we're pretty forever, y'all.
For y'all.
This is pretty American. Wearing graphic tees. Aside from just wearing an American flag, the next most American thing you could wear is any graphic tee. Apparently, this is page 1 in the book of how to be as American as possible
Well,
overseas.
Europeans take their fashions like very seriously, which I obviously appreciate. But I can definitely see that as well.
Oh, I'd be rocking like, I'm sure I would have packed some shirt that would have had print on it.
Absolutely.
Having any print, even the name of a college, is far less common and very rare fashion choice.
Interesting.
Everybody's going to see me coming a mile away then.
Yeah. Unbridled positivity. By comparison, Americans have an unending supply of optimism in a sense that anything is possible.
Of course it is.
Even, well, of course.
Well, and the possibilities. I mean,
Well, even of course it is. The never-ending possibilities.
Floating around on smiles.
Well, of course it is. Even more so, we genuinely believe big change can happen quickly. Not every culture is like that. Here's one I'm probably guilty of, trying to haggle. In some places and in some cultures, haggling is a way of life, but as Americans, we're not big on minor details like when and where it's appropriate and when it's not.
I would have
Don't-
no idea when you're able to haggle
Oh.
when you're not.
Don't be surprised to see Americans arguing about everything from the price of a meal to the price of some little trinket souvenir. I mean, I would probably...
I'm not a haggler.
I'm
so
a
I don't-
haggler.
a lot of us down here.
Anywhere I feel you can haggle, I'll haggle with you.
I'll haggle for you.
I'll haggle for you.
We're
not-
from
yeah.
the Southwest, so we've all been down to the borderlands of Mexico.
For sure.
Where it's encouraged to haggle. And
That's haggle country.
everything
That is true.
from...
Like,
There's-
what will you take for it? And
There's
you're like,
nothing you
that
can't
works.
haggle
I can
there.
just tell you what I'll pay for it, and
Yeah.
you'll just give it. They're like, it's $150. Like, I'll give you $15 for it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're like, all right. I'm
I'll
like,
walk
that
in-
seriously worked.
I'll walk in and haggle the price of
$15?
the gas. I'll be like,
Nah.
I'm thinking 20 pesos and 10 American.
Sign says $1.50.
Tops.
I got $6. I need you to fill it up.
What do
How
you,
do you feel about it?
what will you take for that Boro outside?
You're definitely a better haggler than me. The person would just look at me with the face. I'd be like, I know. I just shouldn't even try.
I'm gonna
I'd
give
like
you...
just try my first attempt at haggling and be like, so what do you think about? They'd be like, just stop. Turn around, stop. Someone please get her.
Get somebody else to haggle for you, man.
Yeah. Can someone haggle for her? Because she doesn't know what she's doing.
She has no idea what she's doing.
Who's
Sir,
in-
you
who's
look like
inter-
you could haggle. You're a haggler, aren't you?
It was
Who's
like,
interesting in being haggled? Possibly you.
it's my first introduction into the business world. Head down to Rocky Point. It's good times.
That's good times. Yeah, you'll haggle your ass off there. Probably ever have a challenge finding out when it's appropriate to haggle.
It's appropriate until they flash the gun at you.
So you're saying this is inappropriate. Okay.
Cool.
I'm going to go ahead and
Full
feel
price
out
it
that
is.
this yeah.
200 pesos is fine. Oh, let's take a break.
Enjoying something crunchy? Follow us on social media and tweet us your comments and questions at crunch_cast. We encourage you to participate and thank you for listening.
And we're back. Yeah. That wasn't disturbing enough.
We need to get back to disturbing.
Certainly entertaining.
I was into it. You know,
I loved it.
We're easy to spot abroad.
I'm guilty as
We're
charged.
we're easy to spot abroad.
Yes.
So we finished It Chapter 2 last night.
Sure did.
I think we should talk about the original, the made-for-TV 1990 flick.
Yes.
And I think we should discuss both the new 2017 It Chapter 1 and 2019 It Chapter 2.
Yes.
Tyler, Blair,
So into
what do
it.
you think?
Well, I feel like we just need to immediately start off with Skarsgård versus Curry and how we feel about it.
Ooh,
Which I haven't immediately pulled to
nailed it,
Comparison.
bliggity.
Yeah, I mean, that was the difference between the two in my eyes, and Tim Curry just can't be competed with.
I thought Skarsgård did very good. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, he's under 30. He's a young guy. He did the creepy very well. And a lot of the parts that I really liked about the new Pennywise wasn't necessarily Skarsgård, though. Like, I loved the drooling, like, before he would make
That
like, a
was
kill, especially. It's
creepy.
like, that was
Yeah.
good. I liked
Yeah.
the eyes being crossed. So, like, you know, that was kind of more of like a shout out to the makeup effects. But he did do things well. Tim Curry was
He
a
was
thing of
just like,
nightmares.
oh.
He scared the people. He scared the cast
Yes,
and crew. They
were,
wouldn't even
like,
talk to
scared.
him
The
while making the
kids, they
movie.
were, like, working
Frightened
with
by
him.
his appearance
I mean, he
and
was just
his
so
presence.
perfect. I mean, casting was
Okay.
amazing.
Let's make an example out of this. I have the same scene from both movies, in Chapter 1 and then the original.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
While we're talking about Skarsgård in
and Tim Curry specifically.
TC.
yeah, let's just give an example for some context. Which would you like to start with? I say we start with the new one.
Yeah.
I say we start with this new one.
Yes, I agree.
Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat. Do you want it back?
Yes, please.
See, he does some of the creepy voice well, but it's
Do you
nothing
want to
like.
into it, Georgie?
Tim
We're
Curry
not
gave me
supposed to
nightmares
taste stuff from strangers.
forever.
Oh,
His voice.
well, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown. Pennywise,
Eerie, but it's not disturbing.
It's not
George.
disturbing.
Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we aren't strangers, are we?
Little endearing.
Little endearing.
You know, it's not scary.
Not horribly horrifying. Just on the standalone, the voice. If we're just doing the voice,
Yeah.
There's a couple things I did like there, though.
Oh, the music, the sounds.
That's rough. That's rough. All right. Now, what I think is a much scarier edition,
The original.
made 19 years ago.
It immediately scares me hearing him. Oh. The
Aren't
music.
you going to say hello? Oh, come on, Bucko. Don't you want to food?
Yeah, that's just.
So instantly creepy.
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers. My dad said so.
Very wise of your dad, Georgie. Very wise indeed. I, Georgie, am Pennywise the Dancing Clown. You are Georgie. So now we know each other.
Not as an endearing. You know something's
at all.
going on there.
Oh, yes. They float, Georgie. When you're down here with me, you float too!
So
Fear
good.
no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy
That-
staff, they comfort me.
That right there. Oh my god, that
Scary-
brings it back.
I think it was a scarier intro.
Way scarier.
I think that was a scarier intro.
I'm gonna say that the whole original, the whole thing scared me more.
Well, I mean, but that's saying for like that came out when you were 2 years old. You saw it probably 2 years after that. So there's some serious
Way
like
too
nostalgia, you know, taking place here.
Yeah, but still, there's
And
gonna
you
be
saw
kids. If you showed a kid the same, saw the new one and the old one, I'd be interested to see how they felt about it. But I still think Tim Curry,
especially like the grittiness of a VHS and like the clown.
the makeup was so good with that. Bart Mixon did the original makeup for Tim Curry, and it was just the mix of the two of them together was so good. And then the music, like you just played it right there, and in those clips, you heard
we'll
that
discuss the music.
Yeah,
we'll discuss the CGI too. And
don't even get me started. CGI, I want my money back.
Yeah.
CGI. Can't believe what I'm watching. CGI. I feel like I'm on an acid trip. Yeah, we'll get into some of that. I want to keep going on the cast.
Definitely.
I
did like so much of the cast in the new one.
Okay. Let's talk about the first one. Because I loved the kids, but I hated the adults. I did not care for adult Richie. I did not care for adult Bill.
I love John Ritter.
John Ritter I liked. Beverly, take her or leave her. Mike I liked, but
I did like Mike.
But the kids,
and Stan.
The kid Stan I liked. The kids they were great. They were great in the first one. In the second one, I was like, "There's no way the kids were going to be as good," and they were. Like the kids were awesome.
Yeah,
they were.
In the remake and the adults that they got, the cast was the best part of this. Like I had really high expectations.
Jessica Chastain
because
Bill Hader,
James McAvoy was amazing as Bill.
Like I was so excited to see that, and then it wasn't bad, but it was too much Stan CGI.
Yeah, it was so hard to just get in the moment and feel the movie and be in the present and be scared.
Scary.
They took acting out of it.
Yes.
And like Tim Curry,
Tim Curry scared the beans out of me.
He made sure he had he knew CGI was cheap then, and he wanted them to use it as very little as possible and never on him. He was like, it's going to take away from my performance. I'll use prosthetics. I'll use different makeup and stuff. But like, and then you could tell the old cheap CGI that they had when he like moves a drain in the first one. Like they did use some CGI, especially towards the end.
But they used it just like in the right way.
More quality over quantity for
in
the
this
CGI.
one, like let's talk about another famous scene that was in both of the movies, like the dinner scene. Like in the first one, there was cockroaches. There was some like crazy things. The eyeball, like that was like okay.
The
that
baby
was creepy.
chicken or
that
baby
was crazy.
bird.
Yes.
It was a baby bird, I think.
Like a bird fetus. Like that was disturbing. Things you would never want to see. The other one,
again, the music was amazing.
The other one was like a baby's head that came out on like the scorpion body or something. Yeah. That was different. Much better in the first one. The old adult Richie in the first one drove me freaking nuts. He was so corny and cheesy. Even as a kid, he just like his lines were so cheesy. Like there's a lot of Tim Curry lines that were cheesy now that were like funny then. I like Seth Green. I liked almost all of the kids. Like I think I liked all of them. I can't think of one I didn't like in the first one, but the adults I didn't care for.
There were some certain standouts for sure.
They were trying to be too much like their child personas and didn't show the progression into their adulthood. If they're funny, you got to be funny later on.
Yeah,
that's why Bill Hader was so good because he was like an actor, just such a comedian.
He was so good.
He used his
so
comedy at times that a comedian does use.
He had timing.
He did justice to the part, and like it was funny now, and that would be funny 20 years from now.
Yeah, Bill Hader definitely.
The other
did
Richie
right.
didn't. I mean, I just didn't care for it. It was way too much cheese. I understand that was a little bit more. Of the
I did
humor
learn
of the
so
time.
much more about Richie's character in this one that I didn't know before, which was cool.
Yeah, and I was like, okay with the secret thing, but they made it too much of like a secret. They made it where it was too big of a deal. They didn't even talk about it. But yet in other ways, they were like there was a lot of extreme homophobia.
Oh my god, the first scene was like what?
I was like, what? There was
unnecessary homophobia,
unnecessary hate crime to like start off chapter 2. Like I
was like, this is not like the original.
I don't remember that in the book. Before we move on too far, I would just like to bring up Bill's hair in the first one. The adult Bill in the 1990 the hair.
The ponytail and the whole.
That is the thing of nightmares.
That's the scariest part of it all.
That's the thing that will really haunt you 27
was such
years.
A good Bill.
Yeah. He was great.
He was so good.
The cast was awesome.
The new Ben was interesting. Like
they
that
even
one
had to
was
deal with
different.
some cheesy writing at times and still made it work. Like
Ben Haskam was. I felt like the new Ben was like they just told him like be like Ritter.
Shout out to our cousin Adam who found the sweet little Easter egg that adult Ben, or no, young Ben from the 1990 movie
Yes.
played a random
Brandon Crane, who played
cameo.
Little Ben.
Yes, he had a little
Hanscom.
cameo at the
An original.
Hanscom board meeting towards the like when you first are introduced to overly handsome adult Ben, and the second one they did too. Like John Ritter was good; he was the right amount of handsome.
Yeah,
this guy was
hot.
ridiculous.
Hey, haircut, take a seat.
They're like carving things into his body. You could only see in the mirror, and you're just like, I feel sorry for you and your 12-pack right now, bro.
18-pack, Natty Light. You got
Clearly
ruin
stomach
that perfect body of yours.
Yeah. Not going to make it to Equinox tomorrow. Sorry, bruh.
Spin class is canceled.
Let's talk about the music. The
Oh,
music.
can we?
Oh,
The music.
so good
That was a big piece that was missing in the
From
new
second-
ones.
Yes.
from the old one.
Let's just play a little music from
Richard
the
Bellis,
original.
thank you for your incredible work that creeped me out as a kid.
Let's just, like, while we
So
have a little
bad.
conversation about the music, let's play some of the music. I mean, the setups, that was like, because a lot of it wasn't, I mean, it was a made-for-TV movie. So it was
still
certainly,
can't
it was
believe
certainly
that.
not R, like the new
But it
ones
was
were.
like 3 hours, right? Wasn't
Oh,
it
yeah.
super long, and that's why they didn't release
yeah.
it in the theater?
Yeah.
Probably.
God, the music
creepy.
was so unbelievably well done.
And there's parts, you know, there were parts that were pretty graphic, like the tub part, which, by the way, was a lot more graphic, and I thought a
In the
lot more
first-
terrifying in the 1991
Yeah, the
Yes.
first one.
than
Also,
in the new one.
because the
stand scene
the
in the
music
bathtub, the suicide
assisting
scene.
that stand scene and him acting, like that whole thing was.
Was this not part of that
Yeah.
right here? I think that was used
Oh.
there. This was used a couple times,
Because it's showing the shower wall.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
but that was terrifying, and I thought it was more well done in the first go around.
Yeah.
I feel like in the second they were hurrying to like just kind of hit on everything and then like add on everything they did on the end.
And it was a lot more suggestive in the first one. Like you had to use a lot more of your imagination
Yeah, you
for
didn't
what the
know
horror
exactly.
was. It kind of it didn't show a lot of it. And
You also
that's
didn't know
good
that
movie
was going to
making.
happen.
And
Well, you read the book.
Implied horror is usually more terrifying than actual CGI horror.
It's I was just about to say
Right.
it's better than clutching on CGI too hard.
yeah.
Like even
Oh.
this was creepy.
Creeps me out, yeah.
Makes me want to look over my shoulder.
Yeah, like
I
that's
know.
just
Ugh.
remember Clown House, Blair?
Like,
Which was the more
why do you think I
scary
hate
movie
clowns
about
so
clowns?
Between it and Clown House,
Blair, I showed you
before
these
I was
movies
5,
at
I
far
was-
too young of an age.
Literally before I was 5, I'd play seen both of those movies.
Wow. Poor
Mental
Blair.
patients escaping, dressing up as clowns and
Clown
like
House,
killing the neighborhood.
That's a hard find, but if you can,
classic.
Clown House is
It's good.
quality stuff.
God, I don't even want to watch that again because I remember it so vividly. Actually,
Could you get
but
into some Clown House?
That would bring back some nightmares for sure. I don't know if I'd want to go down that road.
You know what's going to give me nightmares if we're talking about the second one? And this is what really pissed me off. It and his deadlights are in the book, and what they were alluding to in both movies, that he's been around for like millions of years, and this thing was taken down by some insults.
By just a collective group of insulting people.
In the end, after like 4 hours between these two new
Belief
movies.
and overcoming your strength and
No. This terrifying clown of horror that could just do all those CGI
You didn't have
things and the
fear of
thing
him
of nightmare.
anymore.
He was so big. They had to
it
make him
took a-
feel small.
It took a handful of insults just to wipe him out, and it's done.
And he's
Roll
gone.
credits.
Roll
You
credits.
big boy, take that.
You're mean.
You're a clown. You're a mean clown.
People don't like clowns.
Like that was
Clowns
I
are
hated
dumb.
that. I hated that.
Yeah, that was a weak
hated
ending
that.
to that.
Even I don't even remember, but if that was exactly how it went in the book, I would have said change that. Like, sorry, Steven.
There was definitely the spider. Like I remember being so confused again. So I didn't read the book. Like I know you read it,
I mean,
but
they
I
left
was
out
so
the turtle.
confused by the spider. Oh yeah,
They left out the weird turtle.
Like when it turned into a spider at the end of the first film, I was like so beyond confused,
Wait,
and I
what?
was
But
like,
that
wait,
was-
I
that
was
was-
terrified by Tim Curry the whole time. He just turned into a spider.
It was
I like,
confusing,
"Oh."
but still a little creepy, and like a movie that was just kind of like
Yeah,
you
and I
suffered
get
to
that's
make it
like
all
what
the way
it
through
is,
the
but
end.
you're
You're
like,
so tired. We never made it
I
to the
waited
end.
4 hours and 2 VHS tapes.
But
I had to like rewind 3 different times
in the
to find
second-
out he turns into a spider.
And in the second one, Stan's
sounds
head
scary.
becomes the spider and
Yeah, the
attacks
Stan
him.
head was like, that was interesting. And
The Stan
weird.
head.
I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
was.
There
that
was a couple of weird things. The whole
weird.
Mrs.
What's
Kirsch,
weird?
huge, naked CGI
Giant,
lady
giant
was-
Kirsch.
I was just like, what is happening? Like, you knew something CGI and weird was about to happen right when it did. And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Just too much.
I couldn't even be scared because it's like, okay.
It's so unbelievable at that
Right.
point.
Yeah.
But Tim Curry lived in my nightmares like forever, just with his like the good makeup and
The
like the whole
Pennywise itself and the Pennywise parts, even in the new one, was really good. You know, maybe
Actually,
not.
I did like under the
but it was
bleacher
other
scene.
stuff.
Like that was kind of like creepy.
And the drooling, I love that. Like,
See,
there
and
was
he
there
did
was
that
some
there. That
really
was
good stuff, and there
the
was
pauses
some.
were like
yes.
perfect dramatic pause
Yeah.
where
And
it was like the creepiest right
Even
there.
when you know it was coming, it was still like it still has some scary parts, but then there were other parts where it was like, really.
and all
Every
the what is
time,
the
every time a kid popped up, I was like, "Oh man, this kid's dead."
Yeah.
yeah, this
mean-
is gonna be bad immediately.
CGI, I can't believe they're doing this again. Like,
Why did they have
save
so
this
many
stuff for the
hands?
Beetlejuice remake. There was so
It was
many.
like so handy. There was
Yeah.
like 500 handies.
Name of your sex tape.
I set that one up, didn't
you,
I?
you walked right into that.
I did. Should have known as soon as I said it. But there was like teeny hands
Well,
that grew
there
into
wa-
other hands.
there
and there was like
was
small hands
a
all
hand
over the.
fiend
You know, I have a
going
weird
on there.
thing, but
You
like,
That's got to be
You
a
don't-
thing. I
no one
think they
likes
just
tiny
went down a list of
Because
like
people-
what
people get creeped out
Yeah,
by
what do
hands.
people get creeped out the most
Other
about?
than clowns.
And they put a
Right.
whole bunch of that stuff in there.
I agree.
Yeah.
That let's just put
Spiders,
anything.
hands. Okay, for sure.
Eyeballs.
No one
Everything
likes
at the
little
dinner
hands.
table, roach eyeballs.
Yeah.
CGI. Feel like we're playing a video game here.
Yeah, it did make me like get lost in a sec. I didn't know what we were like watching anymore. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, this doesn't feel like it right now. So
No,
it's like
it doesn't. It feels like the new
I'm not in
Twisted
dairy
Metal.
right. I'm not in dairy anymore.
No.
CG, I don't believe anything that's going on in the screen
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what's so
CG, I'm
crazy
over it.
that I saw? So like we all talk about how like Tim Curry was just so incredibly insane, like terrifying, and how the whole movie was crazy. How long that first original movie was. Tim
Hours.
Curry has less than 20 minutes of screen time.
In a 3-hour movie, he only
In the
has 20
whole
minutes. of screen
movie.
time. Wow. Taken down by insults. I'm still pissed. I kind of forgot about it. Like I had a nice day.
Taken down by
Rubbed me the
insults.
wrong way, too.
Like
yeah.
ended last night kind of like really defeated by insults. And then I forgot about it. Had kind of a nice day, not thinking about that. Now I'm like, really?
Little chafed again, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of tugging at my taters a little bit. Well, this has been another episode of Something Crunchy.
Thank you for
Thanks,
listening,
everybody.
y'all.
Don't ever forget to live your crunchiest life.
Be crunchy to one another.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. Thank you for listening.